How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to City Skylines, welcome back to Plazas and Promenades, and welcome back to Nerdholm. In the last episode, we finally unlocked wall-to-wall buildings, and we have updated Cedar Mall to use those buildings. We've also got some schools in here with a high-capacity elementary school and a high-capacity high school, but today, I think we need to get ourselves a university as well, because there are some buildings, some businesses that are requesting higher education for their workers. So that's where we're going to get started today, and specifically, we're going to get started beside the cathedral. And I say that because I mentioned, I think, in the last episode that eventually I want to continue this sort of pedestrianized space all the way down the coastline. And what I realized is I could probably continue a section of quay all the way down to about there. And I think that'll look great. And I could probably bring it around here as well. And maybe at some point we put a university on the coast right here. I think that might look great. And by that I mean a university campus. But for now, we're going to be starting a little bit smaller. And what I want to do is get myself something like, let's see here, this guy, the university, not to be confused with the university. I want to get this guy because I think it's going to look really good in this space. So I'm thinking somewhere like right here for this university, which means this road is going to need to go away. And then what we can do is just place this guy right about there. And honestly, it kind of ties in with everything else that's going on. It's another very elegant looking building. We can put some bollards alongside it, and we do, of course, need to include it in the pedestrian area here. So let's go ahead and just bring that pedestrian area all the way down, right down to about there. We'll bring it across this road, of course, and then just fill in all of this space, and that'll stop the complaints. And what I can also do is take it off of this road at the back here, just to save a little bit of money, and also probably off of this road down here to save just a little bit of money as well. So now we have a university. We're going to have higher education coming in here, but that's not where we're going to stop. We're not just going to have this be our university. It's going to need some decoration. But before we get to that, there is one little thing that I want to talk about. Well, two, actually. Two mods that I want to talk about. One of them, you might have already noticed, applies to my, I guess, the UI, the user interface down at the bottom of the screen. It's now slightly transparent, or translucent, if you will. And that applies to things like this. And this whole thing has been expanded a little bit to show me more of what we've got. I just figured this would be a nice way to see more of our options, essentially. I can scroll up and down and see all the different types of roads. And I can see through these panels as well. The second mod that I have installed, and these are both going to be in the Steam Workshop collection for Nerdholm, is FPS Booster, which I've got to say is doing a number on City Skylines right now. This is the most smooth I think I've played City Skylines in a very long time. So FPS Booster, and I think it's yet another toolbar is the name of the other mod. Anyway, let's go ahead and see if we can't nicely decorate the space around this university. I'm thinking we'll keep it relatively simple. I want to get some bollards, and I'm thinking we're going to do a very simple row of bollards running from that one entrance to, I'm going to say right about there. And I think that looks okay. I don't mind that, so we'll place all of those. And we are going to need to do a little bit of terrain painting here just to neaten this up ever so slightly. So we'll do something like this, which I feel really lucky. I'm going to be honest. I do feel really lucky that I think my city placement has almost lined up with the invisible grid that manages terrain paint. So what we've managed to do is get these this terrain painting to line up really nicely with my roads and my buildings and just the grid that we're working on right now, which helps this to exist, although it's not doing such a good job over here. So let's maybe just take this little bit out, and we'll just leave things relatively simple. We'll just go for that right there. and that'll be okay. We can hide our crimes, this bit specifically, with some trees, but I guess this side? Well, I guess this side might need some kind of path, or, well, yeah, I think this side could probably use a path. And so, just like that, we have ourselves a university. Now, I will be the first to say that there is a solid chance that once again, I have ever so slightly overdone it in terms of the amount of trees. Although this time, to be fair to myself, I haven't actually fenced all that much in. I mean, I have put fences at the back of the building, of course. There are fences going all the way around, but there's gaps in the fences. It's designed to look open, is what it's designed to look like, and I think it sort of does. Although I will say, I think this corner right here, I think this gap right here, I think this corner right here, and the space in front of the university could maybe do with some bollards. So we'll go ahead and just grab a few of these guys, and what I'll do is start about here, and we'll just go the entire way up to right about there, actually, I think is perfect. And that just helps it feel a little more planted in this space. I think it would make sense that we do have these spaces sort of closed off a little bit. So we'll just sort of do, I think something like that is probably pretty good for this corner, so right about there. And then across this side, it's just going to be a nice, simple, straight line. I guess like so is probably fine. And then for this corner, very, very simply going to come out. Going to go over to about there. And let's just see if I can make that look a little bit better. Which I think right about there does. Although it does look like it's missing one at the end. So just right about there, I think. And I think that helps it feel a little more enclosed. Maybe right here as well. Could use, let's say, 3 bollards just right about there, honestly. We'll not go too crazy with it, but I think that helps it feel a little bit more planted and like that whole space is for the university, because it is. Now, as for this space in front of it, and this space over here, I kind of like the idea that those are also going to be public spaces, that those are going to be parks of some sort. But I want to come back to these because I don't want to spend yet another episode on Cedar Mall, which I'm actually going to rename based on one of the comments that I saw to Cedar Hall with a capital H, please. Okay, I've got caps lock on. There we go. Cedar Hall, which is what we can go ahead and call the City Hall. Cedar Hall is the City Hall. I just thought that was a really simple little change to make this feel a little bit more unique and a little bit more central to our city. So that's the name of this building. It does serve as the Nerdholm City Hall, but officially the building name is Cedar Hall, which, again, I absolutely love, and I thought that was a fantastic suggestion in the comments on one of the episodes. I don't remember which one it was, but it was definitely one of them. Now, speaking of Cedar Hall, which is going to take a while to get used to, I did go and make some changes just down here towards the entrance. And what I did was I went and added a new section of Pedestrian Street right here, and I did the same on the other side. I adjusted this road ever so slightly so people can use these paths, and I did that just to tidy up the space around this roundabout in preparation for this being turned into a park. Now, there is an interesting little detail about turning this into a park, which is that all of this zoning needs to go away. And the other interesting detail is that I think I mentioned in the last episode that I wanted to bring another avenue off of this roundabout. And if I didn't mention it in the last episode, I should have. It might have been in a scrapped episode, which there have been a few of in this series already. There was one that I spent 2 hours recording and I got to the end of it and thought, man, that just didn't feel right. And then the next one, which was the last episode, actually, it was part 4. The original was about 2 hours in total, and then the one that ended up going out was 3 hours in total of just sitting around waiting for these buildings to unlock. Now, what I want to do is this, and I'm going to do this as well, and then obviously take that bit out of there. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to get some diagonals going in here. I want to start getting away from this grid. And to do that, we are going to have to get rid of Middle District, which is going to suck. It's going to cause us to lose a lot of population. So before we do this, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go to Hazel Square, and I'm going to replace all of it with high density. So high density residential right in the middle, which we don't have demand for, but that's okay. We will have once these guys start leaving. But what I'm also going to do is take out all of this commercial zoning, and I'm going to say that all of this is going to be high density commercial going along all of these roads. And then what I'm also going to do is say that all of this on this side of the district is going to be, office zoning? Yes, office zoning. I don't know why I forgot what that was called. But that will deal with some of the industrial demand that we have right now. So Hazel Square will serve as a way to bolster the population that we have. And honestly, we could probably do the same with half of Willow Garden. So let's go ahead and have Willow Garden just turned into, well, this northern half of it turned into some high density stuff. We'll get this section done, and we'll get this section done here as well. Now, what I'm thinking for Willow Garden is that maybe, well, actually, I was going to rezone all of this, but if I do what I want to do, it's going to be a problem. What I was thinking is we could specialize it. We could say self-sufficient buildings, and they might look really good next to this park. But if I do it now, it's going to cause all of this residential zoning to rebuild, which might be a bit of a problem. So I don't know if I do want to do that. I mean, I do want to do that, but it's going to be a bit of a nightmare, but we're going to give it a shot. We're going to do it. All of this is going to rebuild, and all of this is going to rebuild as well. And I actually want to try mixing two very different themes right here, because I think it might look really good. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take out this bit of residential zoning and replace it with commercial. And I'm going to take out this bit of residential zoning and replace it with commercial, because I can go and say self-sufficient residential and then wall-to-wall commercial. So we will have these really tall, self-sufficient residential buildings in here with these much, much smaller commercial buildings surrounding it. And I think that might look quite interesting. Now, when it comes to Hazel Square, I think Hazel Square is going to have to be both. So wall-to-wall commercial, it's going to be wall-to-wall offices, and it's going to be wall-to-wall residential. And that's going to act as a really nice contrast between the much older stylings of this university, the cathedral, and we can already see it contrasting the city hall, Cedar Hall. So I suppose we're going to go ahead and we're going to let all of this rebuild. And this has to be done first before we demolish Middle District. this is the kind of project or process that takes a lot of time. It's gonna take a while for 2 city blocks to completely rebuild and repopulate. And not only does it take a lot of time, but this process also generates a massive amount of traffic. Now, fortunately, taking a look at my roundabouts, things aren't too bad. They could be worse. I think a lot of the problems that we're having are coming from the fact that we have pedestrians crossing the roundabout without waiting for red lights and it's slowing down traffic. I think it's also coming from the fact that I haven't actually set up this intersection yet. So if I go ahead and I just go ahead and do that, it helps us out just a little bit. It gives us some priorities, and looking at it, no one's going to be crossing in the middle of the roundabout at the very least, which is fantastic. Now, I would like to use the lane arrows just to make sure that this is set up properly as well, which I believe it is. Interesting that we have 2 lanes that can turn to the left there, whereas here we only have 1. Not really too sure about that. Let's maybe just change that out so we only have 1 left turn lane right about here, which apparently it doesn't really want to change. Interesting. It doesn't really want to do anything with this intersection. I could use oh, I wonder if that's why. Have I maybe ever so slightly messed this up? It is kind of looking that way. I didn't actually set these up myself. I'm wondering if this is maybe okay, let's delete all of this and let's just try resetting this roundabout very, very quickly. And there we go. We have things working as intended with this intersection right here, and we'll see how things go for the rest of the roundabout as well. Now, in terms of dealing with, I suppose, pedestrians crossing the roundabout, I could absolutely set up some kind of pedestrian overpass for this, but I'm not really too sure I want to do that just yet. Or what I mean by that is I don't want to do it before I set up a park. So that's going to be not necessarily my next step. I'm not necessarily going to go into another big, I guess, design project right now, but I would like to go ahead and just set up, I suppose, the zone for this park so that we can get an idea of where it's going to be. So it is just going to surround this entire area, and it is going to be ever so slightly encroaching on the other parks that we have here, but I think that's going to be okay. It's not necessarily going to be the end of the world. We can take it up and around this roundabout. We'll bring it over. We'll bring it down just like this. And Oak Garden, which honestly I might rename to Cedar Garden, just to sort of tie in with Cedar Hole. Now, I do plan on continuing the garden theme down through this space as well, but I don't really see any point in doing that until we go ahead and get rid of Middle District, because, well, quite frankly, this entire area is about to be a construction site. But what I can do is I can go and get all of the entrances set up for this park, and that is something I would like to do. I want them to be dotted around relatively regularly, nothing too crazy, but regularly enough would be ideal. So we'll go ahead and get them here as well. And I'm actually going to move these guys. So you are going to move down to, I'm going to say about there, and you are going to move down to about there, and that should keep us pretty good. This entire space is going to be fenced in. I should probably mention that is going to be a thing. And thinking about it, probably not a bad idea to get a couple of entrances right there and a couple of entrances right there. And maybe we line these guys up a little bit so you can sort of cross straight over. And I don't think we have a, no, we don't have a crosswalks tool. Can I just do this? I can. Okay. Well, suddenly that's, that's actually kind of cool. I'm also wondering, so what is this? It's like the corner I wish to align to. Oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Crossing, stretched. Oh, I don't know what any of this means. U-turn, custom. Let's just do a crossing, I suppose. And I think I can, oh, I don't want to do that either. No, let's just keep it simple. Just a little crossing right there, which I don't want to do anything to. That's all I want, is a little crossing right there, and maybe some traffic lights so that people can cross safely because I do think that's going to be important as well. So let's go ahead and connect some of these paths together. We'll connect these guys straight across like so, and I imagine that's going to be quite busy. And I suppose what we can do here is bring you back to about there. And let's see, does that line up? I don't know how well that does line up. We'll do this. We'll try and line this up as best we can, something like this. Not really sure how these guys are going to connect together. I don't necessarily love the idea of just doing a straight angle down like this, but in a way, I suppose it kind of works. It is kind of ugly though, so maybe we don't do that. Maybe we come back to those ones. The reason, though, that I wanted to try and get as much of this, not done, but I wanted to get the footprint in here, is because what I can go ahead and do is essentially create our pedestrian underpass or overpass. It's going to be an underpass in this case, but I can go and do something a little bit like this, and I can go, I don't think I can go underground with this path, but I can use a regular pedestrian path, I believe. So this one, the pavement path, and I can go a little something like this. Now we'll go 4 meters like so. We'll go to this side and we'll do exactly the same thing. So down to -9, and I can just cross over like this. And suddenly we have something that's going to work out quite nicely. Now I do need to select those nodes, and I'm going to try and select all of the nodes across this path to keep it nice and level. And I need to sort of just go down until things are nice and level, which that looks to be. So that gives us a way for people to get across the roundabout without having to cross the roundabout. I don't know if they're necessarily going to use this, because at the moment they don't have to, but we'll see what happens. And actually, to be quite honest, if I was to go into junction restrictions and say don't cross there and don't cross there, they might be forced to use that, and that might actually be quite beneficial. And looking at it, there's a good number of people using it, so I would say mission accomplished on that one. So now, let's go ahead and put some fences around this, because it's me, and of course, you knew I was going to do some fences around this. And so now, thanks to Oak Garden, we have traffic that is moving a little bit more smoothly around the roundabout here, and we have pedestrians going underground to cross from Willow Garden to Mayfair and back and forth. The problem we're seeing at the moment is that there is a tremendous amount of traffic trying to come out of Middle District, and it is tailing back just a little bit on the roundabout here. So that's something we might want to look into. We might want to consider perhaps going and saying that at this junction, perhaps there's 2 lanes that can turn left. I'm not really sure if that's going to do much for us, but it does seem like some traffic is able to get into this, I suppose, inside-most lane. And it does seem like that actually has helped us out just a little bit, even if there is traffic that's trying to sort of cross from one lane to the other. So that's good. That's not too bad. It looks like this is clearing out a little bit, so we'll see how that goes, and we'll hope for the best. Oak Garden itself, honestly, I'm not really going to do too much design with it today. I think at some point we'll probably have a pedestrian underpass on the other side as well, and we can continue this design sort of all the way down here if we really want to. Now, I am noticing, are you all... Oh, these guys are walking all the way down here. They are not. Oh, they are crossing down here. Interesting. Okay. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that you can't cross here either. And that might cause some problems for us. It might encourage people to sort of go all the way down here, which I don't necessarily want them doing. Oh, you know, I've just realized that if I was to go and say, don't cross here and don't cross here, they will walk all the way down and they will cross down here. They'll walk all the way back up. I'm pretty sure we're about to see this person walk all the way back up and over and all the way back down. That's not really what I want them doing either. Let's let's turn off those crossings too, and let's force them to go a different way about it. Now, there are some of them... oh, no, they're starting to disappear. Okay, so essentially what I think I've done is I've forced all of our foot traffic, all of our pedestrians are going to have to potentially use cars for a little bit, or they're going to continue to use this path, which is exceptionally busy. And then, I suppose, well, they can cross up here, which is slowing things down a little bit, or they can, you know, use the underpass, which is sort of the goal here. So this is fine. I'm not really too sure why these guys don't have power, but I'm not really super stressed about it. And what's also really cool is seeing that all of this, in the time that I've been working on this, is finally starting to fill up. So I'll tell you what it's time to do. I think it's time that we go in and we start taking out parts of Middle District, which is a lot of space. That is a lot of space to be getting rid of. But I think what we'll do is we'll start here. So we have these buses coming through. Let's go ahead and adjust the bus line just a little bit. And let's bring it in here. And let's bring it to about there. And I suppose we can get rid of that stop right there. And the bus can come in, sort of loop around this space and do its thing. And what I can go ahead and do is... oh, wow. There are so many people walking around here. What are you all doing? Oh, they were going to a bus stop. Okay, so that's why there were so many people. Okay, that's okay. All right, so what I want to do is I want to go ahead and D-zone all of this. Now, doing this is potentially going to be a bad thing if I get rid of this path, because it is exceptionally busy. So what I think we'll do is we'll D-zone all of this section of Middle District for now. And we'll sort of just tear it apart in sections, essentially. So what we're going to need to do is go and grab some nodes and some segments here. We'll go and grab all of these guys, and you as well, and we'll delete them. And then for this path, unfortunately, it's going to have to be deleted as well. But we are going to want to reconnect that. Now, let's do sort of the same thing. We'll go in and grab all of these nodes, all of these segments, and we will delete them. And that leaves us with an elementary school that I want to go ahead and move to this side of the avenue, a police station that I'm going to move to this side of the avenue, and I believe these guys, yeah, they all just get bulldozed. So that's fine. That is a massive chunk of Middle District now gone. And I think what I'm going to do is just continue with this road straight down to, let's say, there. For now. We also have, I realize, a bunch of bus stops in there that I have ever so slightly screwed up. So let's get you and you and you and you out of there. And I suppose we can add a stop to here for the time being, whilst we have this lower section of Middle District, which isn't going to be for much longer, but just while we have it, we might as well have the buses running. Now, a little something I would like to do is go ahead and use this wider avenue with the trees on it. I am going to use this smaller section of road here, though, because it creates a smaller intersection on the roundabout. But what I think I could potentially do is use the node controller to make this almost feel like sort of a transitionary section between the roundabout and all of this. So if I try to sort of align these guys, I'm not sure how well that's necessarily going to work. If we just sort of, if we just look at it, it's not great looking, is it? So we might want to redo that, and we absolutely will. So we'll go in, we'll grab you and do this, and we'll just go ahead and do this something like that. It's nothing too crazy, but it does sort of create what feels like more of a transition between two sections of road, I think. So it gives us this little intersection at the roundabout, and it gives us everything we want from this space. And I'm actually going to just make sure that all of these intersections on this roundabout are squared off a little bit, which I believe they are. So just like that, those are sorted. And what we can do is just control click right here. We'll control click right here. And I do have the intersection marking tool. So let's do a little bit of work at this intersection just to make it feel a little bit more proper. So what we'll do is between those two, we'll do that. And we can do sort of a fill in here as well. Something a bit like that. And I want it to be a chevron. I want to invert it. I want to turn it. And let's see. I guess it can sort of go that way. I do want to offset it from the median just a little bit, so it's a little bit neater. So just like so. And, well, actually thinking about it, I could have this be pavement if I wanted to. I could have this be a pavement fill, and that might actually look a little bit better. It might make this feel like more of an actual transition between these spaces. So if we do pavement right there, and then I go to, yeah, we'll stick with pavement. If I go to the lines, and I go to this one, and I say I want it to be, I guess, pavement as well, we can make it a little bit wider, which I don't think is going to look terrible. And elevation is going to be, I think 0.4 on the elevation for that just makes it feel a little bit more sturdy. Although 0.3, it does have a little bit of Z fighting going on there, so I don't love the fact that that's happening. So I think we'll stick with, well, we could do 0.2 as well. But we'll do 0.4. In fact, 0.31 should fix the Z fighting, and it's not noticeably higher. So that's what we'll do. We'll go ahead, wait, clip sidewalk, yes. And if I bring you back down to 0.3, what does that do? It, yeah, it doesn't really like that. Okay, so we'll just do 0.31. And then on the other line, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be pavement. It is going to be 0.3 in width and 0.31 in height. And that looks okay. In fact, if I really wanted to, I could do some grass in there. I could do some gravel in there. I could do some ruined texture in there or some cliffs. I don't think I have any, I don't think I have this dirt texture over here. But I think maybe we just stick with the pavement. I'm going to be honest. I think the pavement's the way to go. And then just some lines down the lanes a little bit, something like this should help us out. We can just line those up a little bit and line you up a little bit better. And I like that. I think that's actually pretty good. I think that looks the part. And again, if I wanted to, I could try and tidy this up a little bit further, but I think that's okay. It gets the point across. So when it comes to the rest of Middle District, I'm going to go into Move It, and I've already selected everything that I want to get rid of, and very simply, we're going to click Delete. And now everything in Middle District is gone forever. I do need to get my hands on the pipes, because I do want to get rid of those as well, so just all of those pipes can go away, and now we're left with a very empty space. A very, very empty space. We can go ahead and get rid of Middle District completely. And this is exciting. This is very, very exciting, although there is a slight problem, which is that medical care is going to be limited to this place right in the middle of the city. So what we might want to do is look towards the high capacity hospital, which will fit really nicely and really snugly into a lot of the spaces that we have. So, for example, why don't we go ahead and get a bunch of services sort of downtown in Nerdholm? So if I just take out all of these buildings, for example, and I take out you and take out you and you and you, I could go and I could put the high capacity hospital right in here. And I think it would look pretty decent. I can put it on that pedestrian road, which means that traffic going in and out of the hospital is going to be relatively minimal. And next to it, I can go ahead and I can just place a couple of carports, because that's what we do with empty spaces these days. I've replaced my old car parks with carports, which I think is an upgrade, and I think that looks pretty good. I like that you can sort of see the top of it from City Hall. I like that it's relatively central. It is very close to the medical clinic, but honestly, I'm okay with that. and it does provide very good coverage across the majority of the city. Now, in terms of fire coverage, we are a little bit limited. We do have a high-capacity fire station, and I realize, once again, I've messed up my bus lines. Let's just take out all of these stops down here, and let's just see if we can maybe salvage this just a little bit. There's people actively waiting at these bus stops. Oh dear. And I can't seem to click on these ones to get rid of them either. Oh, I might have messed this up quite considerably. Now, while we're on the topic of buses, it was pointed out to me in the comments of one of the episodes of this series that in order to get the more unique buses, such as the beautiful double-decker bus, we need a regular bus depot. So I've gone ahead and got that, and we've gone ahead and got some double-decker buses, and they look fantastic as far as I'm concerned. I think they look wonderful. And I think they look particularly good going around pedestrian areas. So I'm very, very happy to have those back in here. I'm very, very happy that they look the part around Cedar Hall and just around Jones Park and Hazel Square as well. But we are having a bit of an issue. Ever since getting rid of Middle District, we may or may not have also gotten rid of death care. And we don't currently have crematoriums. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a cemetery right there and a cemetery right there. And that is hopefully going to deal with the death wave that seems to be befalling Nerdholm at the moment. And I suppose what we can also go ahead and do is continue this avenue right here. Now that the rest of Middle District is gone, we can just go another 60 units down to here. And I've got to say, I'm kind of really excited to see what we can do with all of this. I'm really excited to see. I'm really confused about why traffic is doing what it's doing right there. That's a little bit weird, I'm going to be honest. I'm not sure why it's all sticking to that leftmost lane to do what's going on. That's very, very strange. I am not 100% sure why traffic is doing what it's doing. It's kind of weird. It does seem to be fixed now, though, at the very least, and hopefully traffic can figure itself out. It certainly looks like it's getting a little bit lighter down here, so we'll not worry too much about that. But when it comes to the district formerly known as Middle, I think what I want to do, to be quite honest, is it is going to be somewhat grid-based, but it's going to be at this angle, right? So it's going to be an angle to everything else. It's going to be a 45-degree angle to everything else. So my thinking is that very simply, we just maybe pick a spot and go with it. Although, well, actually, I have a bit of an idea. I do have a bit of an idea. So these roads are lined up really nicely. So what I want to do is I want to go and get some pedestrian roads. And I think for down here, I'm going to use cobblestone. And I'm just going to connect those guys together. And I'm going to connect those guys together. And the reason I want to do that is because it maintains this sort of boundary around this central road. So it means that I still have the boundary established for what will one day be a park. So I think that's kind of important. And I think what we could probably do is go and just use the node controller to straighten this out a little bit. And, I don't know that I love that suddenly. I don't quite know how I feel about that. Bringing these guys forwards, I mean, it's a little odd looking, isn't it? Let's bring you up to about there. What if I just tighten this right up? What if it is just extremely, extremely close like that? I think I actually do kind of prefer that. I think that does look, it makes a little bit more sense. It's just a straight cut through there. It is a little weird, the cobblestone. I'll be honest, I'm still not a huge fan of the cobblestone at a distance, but I feel like down here, we probably want to go with it. Unless we want to tie the sandstone through I'm going to use cobblestone for now. I'm going to overthink this if I don't. And that's going to be essentially the only road that cuts through this at that angle because it does give us that boundary for the park. So what I want to do at this stage, essentially, is I'm going to go ahead to, let's see, I'm going to go to about here. I'm not really sure what the measurement is, but I'm going to do something like this, and I'm going to do something like this, and I'm going to, I suppose, bring this guy straight through and connect it right there, which now gives us a direct connection to this new road from the existing roundabout, which, thinking about it, this roundabout could probably, or sorry, this road here could probably be changed out for something like this with some trees on it, and maybe we use you to just tighten up this, oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. We'll go for this, and that's okay. As for here, I feel like this should also be a roundabout. So let's get the 3-lane one-way road, and we'll start here. We'll go to here, and we'll just do a very, very simple roundabout that goes around this this entire space. Take out the center section, and obviously we want to set this up with priorities. We want to set up all of the junctions properly, and that might be excessive. It might be, but I do like it, and I do also want to make sure that all of my my junctions are all neat-like. So we'll get these guys all tidied up a little bit if they need it, which it doesn't look like they do. And I'm wondering if I can tidy this guy up as well. I wonder if I bring you forward and you forward, and I bring you sort of up to there, I could have this be a very, very sharp turn, which is, no, let's not do that. We'll tighten up that inner corner and keep this curve nice and curvy, I suppose. And I think that's fine. So that's, I guess, ooh. Oh, now hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Are you going to line up? Oh, that would have been perfect. Oh, if it lined up with that corner, that would have been perfect. And I'm pretty sure if I move it along, if I move this along by maybe 1, I think it might have. Yeah, one unit. If I move that along by 1 unit, that's kind of heartbreaking. I'm going to have to rebuild all of this. Let's do that very quickly. And there we go. Now, I will say this roundabout might not be perfect. I have a feeling it's a little bit offset. It looks a little lopsided, but this is, I think, kind of worth it. I think it looks really, really cool. I'm really happy with this space. So we can go ahead and start figuring out what exactly this entire space is going to be in a future episode, because there's one little thing that I want to turn my attention to, and it's something that I talked about in the last episode, towards the end of the last episode, and it's something that I think we should try to integrate into Cedar Hall and probably Hazel Square today, since I did ask you about it in the last episode. And that little something something is trams, because in the last episode I asked which mode of transportation we should focus on for Cedar Hall and what is now known as Old Factory Square and a lot of the rest of our city as well. And the majority of you commented saying that we should use trams to get around all of the different districts. I did see some comments talking about monorails one day as well, but I thought that trams would be a wonderful little addition to this city, and trams were actually my pick. I said in the last episode I wasn't going to tell you what it was. Trams were my first choice for what we were going to use around this city. Now, there were some comments talking about the fact that we could use metro lines to connect all of the different districts together. And I actually completely agree with that idea, and I think it's fantastic, especially when you consider that we do have some new metro buildings, such as the parallel underground metro station and the large underground metro station, as well as this elevated metro station with shops as well. But I think my metro this time around is mostly going to be underground, because I'm going to use trams as the surface level sort of on rails mode of transportation. And I've got to say, This little bit here might be my favorite thing in all of this district. I know that seems silly, but I just love this elevated sort of roundabout, this U-turn for the trams to take right down here at the end. I think it looks so cool, and it fills up a space that was otherwise going to be relatively unused. So I absolutely adore that. I love that the trams are going between the buildings. I love that there's stops in here and near the schools, which had to be moved ever so slightly. I love this. I also love the tram depot right in the middle of Old Factory Square, which is now named after the old factory in the middle, which I extended backwards a little bit and put some decals around just to make it feel a little bit larger and to give it that little bit larger of a footprint as well. I'm so pleased with how these trams have turned out. Now, what I would like to do is have a little bit of fun, I think, with some metro stations, and I think we're going to give this a shot. I think what we could maybe do is go ahead and throw, well, I guess we will throw some metro stations in here. I'm thinking right on this corner for one of them, right about there. And that actually really nicely matches the building across the way, so that's pretty cool. Let me just bulldoze everything around this for a second, just to make sure it all rebuilds and fits nicely with this. But what I then want to go ahead and do is I'm not going to connect this over to Old Factory Square, because that's what the trams are going to be for. But what we can do is connect this down to Willow Garden. And so I might use the old school metro station for this. That might not be a terrible idea. So we could go and maybe throw an old school, well, maybe not. Maybe we do use this one. I don't know. I actually don't know which metro station we should use for this. I'm gonna be quite honest with you. Let's I guess let's use oh boy. I'm really not sure. Let's use this one. And we'll put it right there. We can sort of bring this over, down, connect it there, and we'll go ahead and put another one, I'm thinking right about here, and we can sort of connect those together. In fact, since these are kind of the only guaranteed districts, we're only going to connect these guys. Mayfair, well, actually, no. I think Mayfair, it's safe to say, I think it's going to stay around for a little bit. So we'll connect right here, and we'll go ahead and throw one. Oh, this does sort of defeat the purpose, though, doesn't it? Because the idea was that we were going to connect sort of from district to district. I don't know if 2 stops in the same district is the greatest idea, but I guess we'll give it a shot. So we'll do this. And, well, that does leave a little bit of a weird gap right there, but we'll manage. Let's go ahead and connect these guys together, though. I want to see what this is going to end up looking like. I'm really, really quite curious to see how this goes. So this guy's going to connect here at minus 32 meters down, and it's going to be a tunnel. It's obviously going to come straight over to here, which is good so far. This one's only minus 16, so we're going to want these guys to sort of merge together a little bit. Let's see if I can get these to line up. I think that's pretty good right there. So let's connect you to you, and that sort of curves around. It's a little bit rough looking, but that should be fine. What we can do is go down to here and bring this guy over to here. And these guys are actually at the same level, so they can connect together very nicely, just like that. This tunnel here is ever so slightly in the way now, which is a problem because this tunnel is kind of essential. So what we're going to have to do right here is this, basically. We're going to have to go around the pedestrian tunnel, which is a little bit weird, but we'll give it a shot and that'll be okay. We'll just do sort of this. Not a very comfortable curve, I'm sure, but they'll manage. And what we can also do is connect from you right up to there. And then this just sort of goes right back to that original platform. So this is just going to be a loop for now. I think this is going to be a placeholder metro. I don't think we're going to keep this, but it does get people around, and that's kind of what we're going for. So let's go from here. We're going over to here. We're going to here as well. We're coming in down there, and then obviously straight back to here and straight down to there. And then we're also going to loop this in the opposite direction because I'm just curious to see how busy this ends up being. I'm kind of hoping it ends up being very, very busy and that we get a lot more people moving around. The updated bus line certainly has more people than we did previously, 259. I believe the previous bus line was, I think about 170. So that's not so bad. And now looking at this, I guess we do have people down there already. Okay. Well, that's very exciting. That is very, very exciting. I'm hoping to see good things here. This one's quite busy as well. I love that it blends in. I genuinely love that it blends in so well. That's so good. That is such a good thing. Look in here, a lot of people going down to the metro. Look in here, decent number of people going to the metro. Look in here, not that many people going to the metro. Looking over here, also a few people coming and going. I think we might have had a train come by and stop just now. But this is perfect. This is so good. I'm so pleased with where Nerdholm has gotten to. Obviously, this whole space is going to have to be rebuilt. We might have too many roundabouts, but I love this. We have dipped below 10,000 people. It was 10,000 people that we had to get to unlock the university, but I'm quite pleased with where we are. I think we've got to a pretty good place here. We have our university and its garden. We have our upgraded city center with trams now. We have the metro going around, the new buses, the high-rise buildings, and this space, whatever it's going to end up being. So it's interesting that I can sort of zoom out here and take a look at this, and in a weird way, it doesn't feel like we've done all that much today. But at the same time, when you zoom right in, you get a better picture, I think, for the metro and just everything that's going on. And there's so many people walking around as well. I love looking at the pedestrian zones and just seeing how many people are walking around. So I'm really pleased with where we've gotten to today. Hopefully you are as well. There are some issues. We need to get crime dealt with in Mayfair and Empire Hills, but I'm really pleased. Hopefully you are as well. And that's going to do us for today. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.